AIM-listed Bacanora Lithium, formerly Bacanora Minerals, has the Sonora Lithium project in Mexico as its flagship asset. It has a resource estimate of over 5 million tonnes, which is regarded as one of the world's largest clay lithium deposits. It's recently announced that one of its major shareholders, Hanwha, has extended its offtake agreement with Bacanora. Peter Secker is chief executive. He joins us now. Peter, welcome.
Thank you for having me back.
When we spoke back in February, you were then telling us about the hoped for funding of this project sometime towards the back end of second quarter. How are you getting on?
Yes, the project is continuing according to schedule. Obviously, first stage was detailed design on the engineering side, and that's happened in Mexico. And that leads into a funding requirement to build the project.
Yeah.
And we're obviously in detailed discussions with both debt and equity providers for that.
So assuming all goes to plan and the money comes onto the balance sheet, then what? Because I know that you've got an awful lot more to do before we even get anywhere close to production.
That's right. So the main strategy is to finish the detailed design, and that'll be ongoing for the next quarter. Place orders for long lead items so they arrive on site next year. Start earthworks in Q3 2018. And that has us completing the plant construction at the end of 2019 and producing lithium in the first quarter of 2020.
And you hope that all that will be covered by the money you're going to be raising?
This is a single financing structure, so both debt and equity to fully finance the project and take us into production.
Yeah. One of the interesting developments you've seen over the last couple of weeks or so has been this news from Hanwha, I think a 10% holder in the company, extending its offtake agreement with you. I think the original offtake agreement was for 5 years, wasn't it? I mean, you're still away from production, and of course 5 years on from that. Is this a significant bit of news?
You're seeing a lot of activity by the Asian off-takers, both the cathode manufacturers and the battery groups, looking to tie up long lead supply. And you've got the Chinese being very aggressive in Australia and South America. And so I think all the Asians, Japanese, Koreans and Chinese are looking for a strategic supply that will be able to continue for a number of years, because battery technology doesn't change, it's a continuous process. So they want supply that will last for 10 or 20 or 30 years and fits into the lowest quartile of production. And we obviously fit that profile.
Do you aim to have more production than they want? Do you have surplus you'll be able to sell on to others?
So for the first stage, which is 17,500 tonnes a year, we will just deliver that into Hanwha, and that will go into the Japanese market. We obviously want to expand that down the track. In year 4, we look to expand from 17,500 to 35,000. We believe some of that will go to Japan, but we will look for other strategic off-takers as well.
We're hearing a lot more from companies like Bacanora in terms of the lithium space. There's obviously going to be a lot of lithium produced. It's a big hot commodity at the moment. Just explain a little bit more about what's happening in the market.
Well, the market is very much focused on energy storage, electric vehicles obviously, and then further down the track, grid storage and renewable energy storage, but currently growing somewhere between 18 and 20% year on year. So one of the fastest growing commodities. And all of this going into Japan, Korea and China. And what these end users are looking for, what the battery companies are looking for, is long-term supply, obviously leading into their battery technologies, but also something that fits at the bottom end of the cost curve.
So where do you sit then on that? Because clearly this is going to be of critical importance, and if you can produce this lithium at a very cost-effective way, then obviously you've got an edge over other producers. Where do you sit on the cost curve?
Okay. I mean, you talked earlier about our resource, over 5 million tonnes of resource. I mean, this is a 150-year project. So we sit right at the bottom end of the cost curve. The cost curve starts currently about $4,000 per tonne of lithium carbonate. And we fit nicely into that $4,000 per tonne bracket, and goes up to anything $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 a tonne for the higher cost producers. So we fit nicely into Q1, and that obviously is a long life project that is expandable and will continue to supply the Asian market for hundreds of years to come.
Yeah. Change of name. What's been going on? Why this change of name? Bacanora Minerals has been around a fair while,
yes.
And all of a sudden it's changed to lithium.
Yes. So obviously we started off as a borates company with a focus on Mexico, and then along came Sonora Lithium, and our focus is now entirely on the lithium space. We have the asset in Germany, we have our development project in Sonora, so this is now what we are. We are now a lithium development company moving into production.
Yeah, as I said at the top, Sonora is the flagship asset. You did touch very briefly on some of the other assets you've got. Do you consider any one of those to be as big as the one you've got, or is that something you're going to just keep along in the side pipe until you want to bring it on?
It's very much a geographic focus. Sonora will supply the Asian market. It's West Coast Mexico. We have an asset in Germany. We have 50% of Zimwald lithium project, and that obviously will supply into the German market. But yes, it's a smaller project, still at the feasibility stage and lagging behind Sonora. So Sonora is the project we are focusing 99% of our time on.
Okay, well, we look forward to hearing more news when it's available about your funding. But in the meantime, Peter, thanks indeed for joining us. Peter Secker is the Chief Executive of Bacanora Lithium. Subscribe to IG for educational content, company insight, financial analysis and expert commentary.